because this is an intertwined monogram. Obviously, somebody of importance.
The most interesting piece of this, it opens up, and inside 3 letters with dates, all in French.
These are major dates in history that directly correspond to what we're seeing here.
It's actually even dated to the day, the 23rd of November.
Which then brings me to these coins.
Welcome back to History Roundtable, the show where we unravel the secrets of history surrounding every single relic that we show you. And today, boy, we've got a relic that's really gonna knock your socks off. Sean, what do you think of this?
First of all, that was well said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Good intro. Well, let's just start out where you guys found this.
Yeah.
Okay, which I'm gonna turn it over to the other Sean.
Yeah.
Because, all right, what are we looking at here? I mean, it's obviously leather covering a wood structure with hasps on the front.
Well, so I don't think the guy who had this knew what he had. We were just told got a 18th century pistol in a box.
Wait, there's a pistol in here?
Leather box with some accessories, and just needed to get rid of it. So
why don't you do the unveiling for Tony?
Okay. So, Tony. We purchased this, and let's see here. Let's just get these little
swing hooks on the front.
Yeah. And then voila.
Now see, I love cased anything because of the obvious. I mean, It's so cool looking to begin with, and Tony will get a lot of really great B-roll. But, I kind of know a little bit because of when you guys first got this. And just to recap, we always look at things and to see if anything had gotten damaged in shipping. So thank God nothing got damaged. But you have to also address any issues that may or may not be, apparent to you or myself. And that's why multiple eyes are very important.
Yeah.
So we did very minimal because very minimal was required. But there was a little bit of surface rust and things that we addressed and took care of. But there's more to this than meets the eye, which is really cool. And I don't want to take away the thunder because this is your thing.
Yeah.
But I get so excited about these things. So I'm going to give this kind of to you.
Absolutely.
And you kind of ask me the questions to fill in the blank.
Sure.
But
so when I first saw this through one of my contacts in Europe, I knew I had to have it because there was just too much going on and he didn't really know what he had. So as soon as I sent Sean the pictures, we're like, well, there's something else going on with this piece because I see something in there. And we're going to tell you about that here in a second. But there's a little secret to this wonderful travel set. And that is what this was. This was your travel box cased pistol set. Now, today you need what? Licenses, permits, if you're going to go anywhere else and you're going to be traveling not only here in the US, but abroad. Walking in with a modern case pistol, you're going to have some problems.
you're not going to get through TSA with that.
Yeah, no. So the obvious, most important and biggest piece of this set, a quite small flintlock as it is, a French travel pistol. And we know it's French from a couple reasons. Sean and I opened it up and looked at it, but it's got a few markings, specifically the eagle's head.
Yeah, the bird's head butt is very symbolic for a lot of the French-made pistols. And that's one of the traits that immediately stands out when there's no apparent maker mark, saying, hey, this is made in Paris. Well, you have to look at the style and the form and the other connective tissue to what else is going on in here. But most of the French guns, not all, but most, have this type of motif where this one is very, very simple. Where you basically have a stylized beak and 2 eyes, and that's pretty much it. Where there are others where, oh my God, you see feathers, you see all this stuff. It's crazy.
Right.
The other neat thing about this little gun is that when it was made, it was embellished with decorative elements, and you see the remnants here, which is this fine silver wire inlay into the wood. And you have it here on the sides, down around the butt cap. And it's really interesting. Like when this was originally made, typically the barrels were bright fire blue. Wow. You know, like amazing. So obviously none of that remains. So that just shows that, yes, this was protected in this case, presumably most of its life.
Yeah.
It was actually used.
Now, if you love all the content that you're seeing here, and you're like, I gotta get more, I wanna see behind the scenes.
Here we are. Finally. We're in a undisclosed private location up somewhere in the mountains in California.
Well, head over to Patreon. That is where we're going to be showing first looks, behind the scenes, unboxing videos. Might even see some stuff for sale on there that you might not see anywhere else, and find us going to really cool places. So once again, head to Patreon. I'm Josh. This is Sean. Hope to see you there.
Take care, guys.
Oh, I can't wait to see that, Tony. Yeah.
Which begs more questions than answers. So
it does.
This gun was probably made, just to be clear, in 1770s, early 1770s. This is in comparison to others that I've owned over the years that I can trace to those finite dates. They made this style from the 1750s, even 40s on. So without there being a date or a discernible maker's name, we kind of have a rather larger, spectrum of time here. But now judging the rest of this, okay, you're right in the 1770s period.
Right.
Everything else that's in here. So I'm going to kind of throw it back to you. And as we're looking at the rest of this.
Well, what's wonderful is you're going to see here in a second, so don't click away. But you're going to see here in a second why we kind of came to that decade within the 18th century. So to go into a little bit more detail, we have some great little added pieces. Now, while this might look like a 9mm shell casing on a stick, it's a powder measure.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice and small, but perfect for this set. And would you today, if we were to fire this today, use that same measure?
I would.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, because one, looking at the bore, one scoop is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
So, chances are it's 2 or 3 of these.
Interesting.
For a decent powder charge.
Well, it's nice that it's included, because sometimes we find these, they're missing all the parts. They just have the pistol, which is cool, but it's nice to have, a complete set here.
Well, and then just to kind of piggyback on that, when it's just a human innate nature, when they see a void in a box to want to fill it.
Yeah.
Especially when there's other compartments with other things in it.
Right.
So over time, you can't assume just when you open the lid that everything that's in this box is from 1780.
Right.
Because that may have been used for another 50, 60 years and handed down, and other accessories lost, replaced.
Yeah.
That's what tells part of the story.
And here is a really interesting thing. This little, I'm going to assume cardboard of some kind of nature, inside we have powder.
Again, you're not going through TSA with that.
So we have a little bit of black sand in here still. Now, I haven't seen anything like this from the period. This was likely something from the 19th century that maybe somebody just used to carry their powder as they continued to use this over the years.
Yeah, I'd have to look a little bit more into that, because this is not typically what you store black powder in.
Yeah.
But, okay, so
Yeah.
that's part of it. That's
Part of the story. And then we'll do final one. We have quite a few little lead shots.
Now, are they all the same size?
They are.
And what's interesting is that
We also
there is
patch.
there isn't a bullet mold.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously this individual couldn't fit everything that they needed in this case.
Right.
So other accessories had to be kept outside of the box.
So now you have just about everything you need.
That patch, is that a flint patch?
Well, see, this is the patch that when you, let's just say for this ball, the diameter is just right for the inside of this, but you'll notice that it just kind of rolls in and out. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
So you would put the patch on top like this, put the ball like this, and then you, with the ramrod, ran that, and it was then seated in place and it wasn't going to roll out. And it also created the proper breech pressure for the muzzle velocity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is so great. So
You don't see the patches very often.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No.
And there's about 4 or 5 of them in there, which is kind of cool, having extras for the road. Now, what was really interesting to me is we have 3 things here that are all connected. First, we have a small sealed vial of iron gall ink.
And I love this. I mean, and Tony, when you zoom in, you'll see the little bubbles in the glass. I mean, it may not seem like much,
Yeah.
but to me, this is so rare.
Yeah.
Because number one, it's glass. It's still corked and sealed.
Yeah.
And it still has the original contents.
Yeah.
I mean, from that period.
Yeah. Now to go with it, which I assumed, okay, why would you need ink? Well, you're writing correspondence. So was this somebody who was a writer or doing business? So then that leads us to the next piece. We have a wax seal and a little blob of wax, possibly late 18th century, early 19th century.
This is where the plot thickens.
Oh, it does.
So they say, because this is an intertwined monogram. Obviously, somebody of importance, when they wrote a document to show that they were the original person that wrote the document, they would melt the red wax, impress it with their personal seal. And the other reason why they had these seals is when the document was closed so nobody else would read it, they'd also make another impression with the seal to show that correspondence has not been tampered with. Obviously, if the seal's broken, somebody's tampered with it.
Because most of the time they weren't putting these into an additional paper envelope. Because paper
Sometimes they
wasn't
were.
cheap. Yeah.
Sometimes they would.
Yeah.
It all depends on the level of status and the importance of the correspondence.
Yeah.
But okay, so
that's all super cool and exciting. But the most interesting piece of this, which we'll get closer up on it, there is a very small little handle. And would you look at that? It opens up. And inside are some fascinating items. I'm going to lay these out on the tray for us to take a look at. Inside here, we have 3 letters written in the original paper with the iron gall ink with dates, all in French. There are numbers, likely, we'll talk about some of the translation, which we've just begun, and I do not speak French. None of us are fluent in French, so we've had to send these off to get some translations, and we've only got one translated so far because they're in cursive in French and
all right,
a little sloppy.
I can't stand it anymore. You've got to read what this one.
Okay.
And what is translated.
All right.
This is because now, mind you, Tony, if you have a look at this, what anybody can discern by looking at this particular document is there are numbers, which they are dates, but they're not just any random date. These are major dates in history that directly correspond to what we're seeing here. Yeah. So Josh, I'm going to let you just go ahead. You've already got it.
Yeah, I've got it up here on my phone.
So this is the document that he is now reading.
It begins, let it be remembered that there is in this package a receipt dated March 29 of 1783.
Now I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because what this is referencing might be this document here, which we have yet to decipher, but this one is dated 1783, and it does look like it is an accounting of things maybe paid for, what have you. Continue.
Exactly. From a Francois Dumont, tax collector, regarding 29 pounds, the subject of some funds that were raised during the War of 1776.
All right. Now, I'm going to stop you there again. That's not something that was taking place in France. However, France was being brought into this. What happened in 1776 is what this year we're going to be celebrating 250 years.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a huge deal about the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and very relevant to today's day and age.
Yeah.
What you are talking about is now the War of Independence that is taking place in our fledgling colonies, our 7 fledgling colonies, against the mightiest empire in the world at the time, which is Great Britain.
Yeah.
Continue.
The consultation of the archives has been revealed that the Lord of Thiene had to pay for firewood provided to the Countess of Boussu. The said receipt was accepted as payment without prejudice to the Lord's rights. This is the second receipt for 108 gold coins for the same matter dated January 15th, 1786.
Okay, and I think
the other one
might be
the 1786.
1792.
92.
All right, all right, more question marks, but
that's right.
Keep going.
No, that's it. That's the end of that letter.
Okay, so this is, I can't wait to get into this now.
Yeah.
But the point is that it is so rare to find all of this in one place.
It is.
And how it all connects. So I can't wait. Again, I don't know how long it will take to have this one translated, but this is what gets us all excited. I mean, did you have any idea, Sean, that this was going to become what this is?
And what's amazing is look at the handwriting style. It's so clean and so beautiful. Just the script that they, this person, how they wrote, and you can even see where he spilled some ink on the paper. Very cool. I had no idea of the contents when it came in the mail. We opened it up and we thought, oh, we got a pistol and we got some accessories. That's pretty cool. Then Josh lifted up this little handle and then, revealed underneath it, not only was there these letters, but there were also...
There's a few other things.
Yeah.
The final pieces here. Well,
Don't
first...
you feel like a game show host?
Oh, absolutely.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. We actually have an original that probably popped off one of the letters.
Right.
Wax seal. Just over time, just separated. And it is the original pressing.
So cool.
Just so cool.
Yep.
But
probably came off of one of these.
Yeah.
It probably did. The final piece of this set, that sound that everybody knows, money.
Right.
We have 4 bronze French coins, none dated past 1792. So that kind of puts us, either that was the last year that these might have been circulating, because these specific type of coins, from speaking to some of our friends, I got a specific friend who's expert on a lot of world coins. A lot of these specifically done during the French Revolution, in those decades after the American Revolution, were made from melted church bells.
Yep. Hence, okay, Fun Fact Friday. The Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
That was destined to be melted down to make cannons.
Yeah.
And it was saved because it was hidden.
Yeah.
But so many other bells from churches all over the world that suffered a different fate. But here's the thing. Over time, in peacetime, those cannons were then melted down to make other utilitarian things, hence to replace the bells that were stolen in the first place.
Well, I've actually seen when I on my last trip to London, there's certain areas where the bollards are cannons stuck into the concrete.
Well, okay. So I'm not going to expose what family member walked into one of those, because they're unfortunately crotch height.
Yeah.
And if you're not paying attention, you're going to run the muzzle. No. Mind you, that happened to him, and I was crying, laughing for about 20 minutes. I had to sit down. I thought I was going to pee myself.
Yeah.
It was that funny because the noise that he made on contact just resonated through the streets. And it's like everybody knew what happened.
But it's just interesting to see the full circle of some of these things. And that whoever had this set had been either doing business or been regularly using this set from the American Revolution all the way into the French Revolution.
Well, I mean, if you can put yourself in the shoes of somebody back in that period, when you left your house, like we do today, you don't leave the house without your glasses, your keys, your cell phone, your wallet. There's a certain checklist. And it's like, oh man, you usually like halfway out of the house when you realize you forgot that one thing that you normally have. This was the same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't have cell phones to call the police if they were in trouble. You were on your own.
Yeah.
Of course, in the cities, if you were in shouting distance of a constable or whatever for help, but even then, you were on your own. So your horse was your car.
Yeah.
You would have a pair of pistols in front of the saddle for protection.
Yeah.
And if you were even in a better position where you had your own private coach, the coach was armed with all sorts of defensive measures because, again, it was very lucrative to be a highwayman, robbing these coaches. So if I were a wealthy guy, I would want to travel with something like this because it looks like a book.
It does. And this is like the antiquated, the relic version of what a lot of people today are big into, the everyday carry. What do you got in your pockets? This is my cool stuff. This would be my everyday carry. Carry this with a couple other books. From the period, a lot of books even look like this. So it's unsuspecting.
Well, we'll get there. But I have cased guns in.
I can't wait to see
an old book. And basically they used a real book and cored out the interior, which is, depending on the book, could be a crime in itself because you're destroying the book. But it was all about keeping it hidden and sealed. So your would-be adversary doesn't know that you're armed. But
it's just too cool. I mean, I love, just if it was just this, it would be cool enough. But the fact that it has all of this is, for me, breaks the scales of the cool factor. This is a 1,000 out of 10 for me.
Well,
the historical significance, the ties to two major revolutionary wars.
This is a different animal.
It is.
Because you have a lot of different components of, things that are going on. And you've heard me say the expression before, if an item could talk to you, what would it say?
Yeah.
Well, here you've actually got something in writing that if this is indeed, all connected, this is really, really interesting. And it connects to one of the most important time periods, for us Americans. But, the other part of it is that we also have to address, or at least I do. In the past 40 years, I have come across a lot of really interesting things. Some that are just spectacular, but then some that are so mind-bending, you have to ask the question, is this too good to be true?
Yeah.
Because anybody could assemble things.
Right.
And if they're really smart, they assemble the things of all the same time period. And then they put it before somebody like me to go, hey, what do you think? Was this all assembled during the time, or was this assembled at a later date?
Yeah.
So it makes our job so hard at times because or at least I'm in the business of vetting things, making sure that, hey, this is all original. And if it's not, if it has this little replaced part, to disclose that.
Right.
And I hate to make the equation to like classic car restoration.
Yeah.
But it is kind of the same principle where maybe certain parts are not available. They're not being made anymore.
Sure.
Well, what if you don't know what the original part that's now missing looked like to begin with?
Yeah.
So now take that classic car analogy and go back 200-300 years.
Yeah.
To where when we receive something like this and maybe, the frissen's missing or the trigger guard's missing, well, now we're confronted with, do we restore this? And can we restore it?
Yeah.
Is there a part available that can fit where the missing void is? It doesn't always work that way. So it's as fascinating as all this is, it really gets exciting when you have it all together in one piece.
It does.
And again, all of this looks homogeneous. It's, sure, could there have been little restorations here and there over time? You would have to expect that.
Yeah.
But this is such a cool little package. And then this, and then this.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear if it connects to that.
Yeah. Well, definitely stick around because we're going to have to do a part 2 on this once we get these letters translated and hopefully connect the dots on who this individual was who owned this, the involvements possibly in the French Revolution as well as the American Revolution, and what else this was involved with.
You know what? We're going to be taking a break here in a minute. I need to check the emails.
Yeah.
Maybe some information has come on about this one.
Yeah.
So hold on a minute.
Why just learn about history when you can own it for yourself? Every relic, weapon, and treasure we share at the Round Table can be yours. Whether you fancy a piece of armor, a flintlock used during a famous battle, maps of distant lands, shipwreck coins recovered from the depths of the sea, or sacred tomes of bygone eras, we are sure to have something for you. So what are you waiting for? Visit CommodoreCoins.com and TortugaTrading.com today and start your adventure. Welcome back from a short break. Sean just had to go over and see if we could get our translation in email of
and we
this
did
other
get
letter.
some of it.
We've got some of it so far. Some of it's a little hard to read, but from what I've been able to pull together through our contact, I've got a rough translation as close as we can get to what it's talking about. So it's very interesting. It's painting, a little bit of a picture for us here, which will go into more depth, but what else was going on at this time? So this one was dated 1783.
Okay, that's a critical year because in 1783 was when the American Revolution ended technically.
Yeah.
And this was when, of course, Cornwallis had surrendered at, that was a disaster for him. He couldn't believe it to the very end. He wouldn't even show up to surrender his sword. He sent somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And, in shame.
And it's actually even dated to the day, the 23rd of November.
That's my birthday.
Yeah. Are you serious? That's funny. Well, I guess this one's for you.
Yeah, right.
Monsieur Rich.
Yeah, right.
But this is what it goes into. So it's addressed to a Monsieur Simon. I hasten to respond to your letter, which I received last evening. Here are the objects of the Lords of Thiene paid to Mr. Duhoit as they are listed in the records of the church. And I'm going to butcher this name. So, but it's Quembergus.
Careful.
Something like that. I don't know what I'm doing here. That I've never seen a word in my life. But I'm sure it's a church of a small town in France.
All right.
The orbits of the lords and ladies of Thiene, vigils with 9 lessons are worth about £4 each year, 4 candles, 2 gold coins, 5 bell ringers, 4 gold coins, 20 poor people, 10 10 gold coins worth of bread distributed in loaves, another orbit similarly with the same vigils, and 3 small commemorative lessons.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And so at least this first section that was translated to us says, this letter appears to concern religious or ceremonial payments or donations made by or in the name of a noble family, possibly for commemorations or masses, referred to as obits or orbits and vigils. Now the letter continues on. We read this first section here, the other side here, a bit smaller, but it finishes the rest of what it's saying and then also ends. So I said, and lastly, founded on a house and property in that town belonging to the lords there, located near the walls of said town, under the condition of giving 14 souls, like SOLS coins, to the poor, 16 loaves of bread each year, or their equivalent in money. The said house and property are currently occupied by Mademoiselle Belline. I certified that this is consistent with the records of the church in the town, written in by this gentleman, which is hilarious. He's actually a priest that was actually writing to these lords and basically saying, it was a priest. This specific letter says, I am Mr. Simon, your devoted and humble servant, Demyuk priest. So probably his last name.
Okay. All right.
Demoinic, I think. So it appears that this was written in 1783, locally in a province in France, basically to this Monsieur Simon, whoever they were, basically saying, here's the account of where money is being going and going to the poor and how things are being helped.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, this was the only way they could keep records.
Yeah.
And, the fact that these documents even survive to this day is rather remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what we do with our own trash.
Yeah.
It's like we're supposed to keep official documents for 7 years.
Yeah.
And then get rid of those.
Yeah.
So the fact that these are still here is...
I know.
Well, and I think there's another piece of this story is that most people didn't know how to write or read. So whoever is corresponding obviously is somebody who has gone to school, has learned very ornate, good handwriting. They can afford paper. Paper was another issue back in that day where it wasn't something you went to Barnes and Noble or you went to Staples or Amazon and got paper.
Yeah.
I mean, paper was a very tough to get commodity. So this is shedding a little light on this Monsieur Simon, that he was probably donating money or raising money for this parish or this town. And this is an accounting of where that money went.
And it does make sense why it's a priest doing it. The priests would have been the most educated people in the town with most of the books and most of the writings and the studying all the time. That just makes perfect sense.
And I can't stress enough, and have it be overlooked, the penmanship.
Yeah.
And, you look at some of these historical documents and it's like, there's no way a human did this.
Yeah.
You look at the Declaration of Independence, that was all hand done.
Yeah.
I mean, and it makes sense. It's like, well, okay, what are we focusing on today?
Yeah.
In most households, there's a video game console.
Yeah. Right.
That's what's taking up people's time. Yeah. Well, back in the day, they were practicing their penmanship because there was no other way to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is the mind-boggling aspect of life expectancy during this time period. You had to really perfect everything you're going to do in life much faster.
Yeah.
Because your life, you weren't expected to live. I mean, if you went past 50, then you were lucky.
Yeah.
So you had to master all these skills, to be competitive.
Yeah.
True.
Which then brings me to these coins.
Well, it's like piecing this puzzle together. So you have an individual who can afford a traveling gun case, and he's got his own signet, stamp. He's got, obviously he can read and write. So he's probably somebody of nobility, possibly, or from a wealthy family, or possibly clergy. Who knows? But it's starting to look like this is coming together, that the literacy rate was not high in this period. We're in the French Revolution period. And then these coins, there are 12 deniers or deniers, bronze, and one's copper, dating 1791 through 1793. So very interesting how all of this is kind of coming together.
And it would make perfect sense, that this would continue on as the events unfolded. As history just presents itself, anything still serviceable, beyond, okay, this may have seen some connection to the American Revolution in the 1770s, but clearly would have seen something going on in the French Revolution shortly thereafter, 1783, up into the 1790s and beyond.
To the Napoleonic Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, in the pistol itself, somebody went through some extra effort to do this silver wire inlay. So this was somebody who spent a little extra money for...
Had means.
Yeah.
Had means.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a wealthy merchant at a minimum.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
And if this truly is a letter that was received by Mr. Simon, that could have been who owned this stuff, and this other correspondence isn't addressed specifically. Maybe that scroll work that's on there.
We're gonna need to research this.
Yeah, yeah. That seal could tell us a lot more.
Right.
But it's beautiful. I mean, I don't often find somebody, specifically French ones, that were carrying those little wax seals. And
no, it's again, I'm as much as I'm excited about this, it's kind of a head scratcher too, because it's creating more questions. But that's the fun of what
and that's
we
what
do.
we love.
Yeah.
The more questions that we get to ask ourselves and we get to ask you. So,
man, I don't know. This was a good one, guys.
This was a good
and
one.
I don't think it's over.
Yeah.
Because there's still more to this.
There
I
is.
feel it.
We'll probably have another episode in a coming season where we do a little bit more dive into this and maybe fill in the blanks.
And I don't want to forget, because again, we're always cognizant of what your comments are. We are going to lay all these out, all the parts and pieces, and get really good close-ups so you guys understand what we have a chance to actually look at and play with every day.
So this is one of the coolest items, at least the most in-depth item that we've found in quite some time. So for the cool factor,
Good luck with that.
yeah, 1,000 out of 10.
Well, and it's because we're addressing not just the pistol.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much else. So many other things are going on, and it's not over yet. It's not telling everything. But holy crap! I mean, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's all still together.
Right. Now, Sean, paint me a picture about what was going on at this time when this would have been used.
Wow. Again, I'll try to condense it. This was something that you didn't want to leave your house without, because this is the perfect traveling kit. And you always have to assume when you left your home, however secure it may or may not have been during that time because of whatever oppressions were happening, you didn't want to leave without like your travel kit. This would be part of your kit, along with your clothing and whatever else. You didn't want to leave without your keys and, like today, your house keys, car keys, cell phone, wallet. You don't want to leave the house without it because you can't conduct whatever you're trying to do without them. Same thing applies here, but there's more that would go along with just this box.
Yeah.
This guy probably had a big traveling trunk,
Probably.
filled with all sorts of all the necessities that he would need in his travels. So getting just a little snapshot of this is amazing. So I would leave the house with this, and let's just say I either had the means to hire a coach to take me to London, let's just say from Paris. I would want to have something to protect myself with. And even if I didn't have a limp, I'd want a cane, and maybe that cane has something concealed in it as well. They made sword canes and gun canes. So it's like you would have this regalia because you don't know what you're going to come in contact with in your journey.
Yeah.
The coachman, sure, he had his defenses to protect himself. He's driving a team of horses. Well, out of the tree line, here come these guys that want to rob you.
Yeah.
Well, that guy driving the coach is only going to be able to do so much, and he's probably going to be more concerned about his skin than yours. So you really had to rely on yourself.
Yeah.
And God forbid you were traveling with your family. You know, I mean, you had to have something to protect yourself. So without a doubt, I'd have this. I'd probably have on my horse another pair of pistols. On the carriage, I'd have a blunderbuss and whatever else.
Yeah.
Just in case. So what am I trying to tell you here? This is like not a choice for me. If I were living back in this day, this would be just absolutely a necessity to have.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the picture I like to paint because people don't think like this.
No.
You know, why did people have something like this? Why was it so important? Well, now you know.
No.
Because you didn't have the police just waiting. They're just twiddling their thumbs waiting to help you around the corner. That didn't happen. That was after the fact for them to file a report as to what happened on the road to London.
Crazy.
But no, and just to recap, the cool factor, this is beyond the scope. We'd have to create a different scale for this.
Yeah. So we showed you a lot today, but we have so much more to show you. So if you'd love to see relics just like this, stick around. Like, subscribe, and share.
See you next time.
See ya.
History Roundtable, an all-new season. Don't forget to like and share your favorite episodes. And to learn more about the artifacts on the show, visit tortugatrading.com and commodorecoins.com. Till next time.